From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman, but with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, but before we get into that, I want to give you a few reminders of just some quick resources for you. We're going to be talking a lot about the fire, the Thompson Fire, obviously, and of course the heat wave. There's a lot to talk about that. It's a long, extended outlook. Some of you may not have time to watch it all or even scrub through it all as well to kind of fast forward or back up. So Kruger's QuickCast is just a quick way to get the forecast, nothing more for the day. And I do it in about a minute, minute and a half, somewhere within there, and that's a great resource for you. WeatherNorCal.com, forecast videos. Again, if you're not interested in fire information, if you're not interested in how long the heat wave is going to go out, you just want to know what to expect for today, that's a great place to start. Also, I want to remind you to send your pictures in. Sundial Bridge in Reading, sent to us by Yolanda. Just a beautiful shot of the sun most likely setting there, because that looks like it's looking off to the west, but just a gorgeous shot of the Sundial Bridge. If you have any photos you want to share, Sundial Bridge or your pets or whatever, right, ways you're staying cool during this heat, share your photos with the free Weather NorCal app from your iPhone or from your Android. Let's get to the headlines. So we've got this extended heat wave. It's going to be going through this week, through the weekend, and it's going well into next week. And this is something I've been advertising and talking about all week long. This is going to continue well into next week, if not all of next week. We have warm overnight lows. We saw that last night. We're going to see it again this morning, right? And then hot, dry, and windy conditions. Now, they'll continue today. Unfortunately, here with the fire, the Thompson Fire, the winds are expected to pick up again this afternoon and into tonight. But the winds are expected to eventually die down Thursday afternoon. They'll probably still even be strong Thursday morning. We'll get into that here in just a second. Here's a quick look at your neighborhood forecast. And yeah, we're over 110 degrees most likely in the valley, or at least parts of the valley. About 110 degrees, give or take, depending on where you are. Temperatures mainly in the 90s for the higher elevations, but places in Trinity County could be talking about some triple digits for today. And the coast, you're getting warmer too. You're going to be somewhere in the low 70s. All right, let's take a look at the hot spot here. Unfortunately, it looks like the fire is still burning fairly hot, although not as hot as it was last night. You can see another little spot right here that is picking up on a heat signature there as well. In fact, we'll take a look at some of those latest heat signatures that are coming in. And, just even an hour ago, we're seeing some some new activity here. So this is from yesterday. This is where the fire was burning the hottest, right? That is now a day old, or 12 to 24 hours old. This just came in, so we can see some of the hot spots that the satellite is picking up on here. Of course, here's Kelly Ridge. That is an area I know that a lot of people are concerned about. Unfortunately, there have been some homes that have been burned as a result of this. Now, there's one thing I wanted to take a look at here, and that is the smoke forecast here. There you can see, of course, the winds. Let's kind of zoom this out here, but there you can see the smoke is actually going to blow to the south throughout the day today, and then eventually we'll start to see that smoke kind of take a shift and move itself to the east. So places like Quincy will probably get hit with some of that smoke here. And then eventually Chico, I think maybe late tonight and into early tomorrow morning, you may be dealing with some of that smoke. And then it may work its way northward as we go into Thursday morning. Places like Reading and Red Bluff, maybe in the form of haze, maybe doesn't look to be a very dense smoke. And then Thursday afternoon, looks like still some haze, more of that smoke kind of pushing towards the Quincy area again. So we're seeing this trend where it moves to the west, then it kind of shifts and pushes a little bit more to the north. All right, let's get you to some other maps here, because we want to talk more about the Thompson Fire, where it's at, what's going on. Here is a look at the latest. This is the Sunset Hill camera. We're going to take a look at a time lapse here, and of course, overnight, they had the camera pointed in a different direction. Of course, you can see the stars there, but eventually it'll turn back toward where the fire is. Now, you see it looks worse at night, but then as you kind of start to get some of that daylight in there, I mean, it's burning, it's producing smoke, but it's not burning as big, as rapidly, and as hot as it was yesterday at this time. So that certainly is some good news. I want to show you some of the current conditions out there right now. We'll zoom it in a little bit tighter here, and you can see the gusts aren't terrible. This is the one out towards Oroville Dam Spillway. This is blowing from the north-northeast at about 12 miles per hour. And then, of course, this is the Kelly Ridge Road. You've got those winds there blowing at about 9 miles per hour. So again, it could be worse. Then we're going to take a look at the relative humidity. It's down to, it's still pretty low, around 20% out towards Kelly Ridge Road. A little bit better as you get kind of closer to the water there, but still quite low relative humidity levels that we are seeing right now. Let's take a look right now. This is actually, oh yeah, this is interesting too. This is kind of showing you that the activity is not as active as it was during the time the fire started. Right there is right before sunset. Those, when you see the bright colors there, then look what happens. Overnight, you just kind of see how it fizzles out, and then we start to see it kind of, you can't really see much, right? This is good. This is showing us that the fire is not burning as hot. It's not as active. However, I'm a little concerned that that is not going to last forever, because we are expected to see those winds to begin to pick up again here. Let's take a look at, again, some of those satellite image, and this is what I showed you a little bit earlier, but this is a little bit more closer version. There you can see again, there is Canyon Drive. And I'll kind of maybe just kind of walk up to the green screen here. So you can see, keep in mind, this is just a general idea. This is coming in from space. So it's just going to give you a general idea of where it's detecting some of the latest hot spots. But here's Kelly Ridge. This has been a big concern. This is a big community here, and they're trying to really keep it from going into the Kelly Ridge area. Now, as it stands right now, we're not seeing any of those heat signatures getting into Kelly Ridge. But again, that is going to be an area of concern. So I also wanted to show you, taking a look at watch duty, see what the latest information is coming in with that. And let's kind of click on it. And this is about an hour ago. It's just over 3,000 acres, 3,002 acres as a matter of fact. Basically coming in from one of the reporters for watch duty. No additional updates have been received. Watch duty reporters continue to monitor the incident. And of course, they show you where you can go to a camera. Now you can see all of the evacuations. The red is the evacuation orders. The yellow is where you have evacuation warnings. I encourage you to go to the Weather NorCal website, weathernorcal.com, and I want you to go to, let's see if yeah, there it goes, updates here. Go to the fire danger map, and then you can scroll down, and I just encourage you to go to the Weather NorCal site and the fire page in general, because it has all of the resources that you need, including fire forecasts, the works, red flag warnings, and then of course you can go into Zone Haven. And by the way, if you have problems there, you can check out the shutoffs. You can go to your county's emergency offices, and that will also give you a lot of the information that you need as far as evacuations are concerned and the works. All right, I wanted to show you this. That actually just came down before I started recording this. You can see the fire perimeter right here. This is the latest coming in from fire officials. So this is the official fire perimeter. So this is what I like to do. I like to go around the outside of the perimeter to show you any streets. This is, of course, on the west, north, and west side of Lake Oroville. And we're not really seeing a lot of communities out in this area. This is Oregon Gulch Road that we're seeing right here. That's Oregon Gulch Road right there. But again, we're just in a very high terrain. You can see just how the terrain is. We just don't have any homes out in that area. There's Oregon Gulch Road right there as well. Now, as we go on the west side of the Feather River, you can see that we have got, these are Cherokee Road is what we're looking at right there. So it looks like it is on Cherokee Road, and then South Table Mountain is where that's kind of labeled where that edge of that perimeter goes. So basically between Cherokee Road and Big O Road, so it hasn't quite hit Big O Road yet as far as the perimeter is concerned. Now, we go into the south side of the Feather River. This is where, of course, you still got some pretty steep terrain there. Looks like a lot of these homes are outside of the fire perimeter on Lassen Street, for example, Long Bear Road, for example, as well. That is good news. However, I do have to give you a caution of warning. Just because your street or home may be within the fire perimeter doesn't mean your home has burned down. And that also being said, just because your home is outside of the fire perimeter, that doesn't mean you're 100% safe either. But that is a very good sign when you can see that the fire perimeter is out. There's Valley View Drive that is outside of the perimeter. Now, Oroville Dam Boulevard East, as you head north of Rusty Dusty Road, you can see that the fire perimeter gets in that area. But again, it's a very steep terrain. We head out towards Plumas Drive. Looks like the very north end of Plumas Drive is within the perimeter. And then we've got Putnam Drive. North end of that is in the fire perimeter. And then, of course, as we get closer to Kelly Ridge, you can see Kelly Ridge right here. And we have got Canyon Drive. So I'm going to kind of point this out here, right here. We've got Canyon Drive right here. Again, Kelly Ridge subdivision. This is all up in this area right here. So you can see that's the those are the streets here. So this is a little spot fire that has developed as it moves closer to Kelly Ridge, unfortunately, but I'm sure the firefighters are on top of that. So that's what I wanted to do with the fire perimeter, so you could kind of get a basic idea of where everything is. You can see also Ore Dam Boulevard here. There's, of course, the dam, and you can see it looks like it has kind of reached to the dam area here, at least the fire perimeter. That's Oroville Dam Road. And then, of course, within that area here. So just kind of keep that in mind as we're looking at this, that just because your home may be within the fire perimeter does not mean that your house has burned, all right? It just means that your house is obviously within the danger zone. All right, we took a look at the smoke. Now let's take a look at and talk about the fire weather alert and the fire conditions as we go through the day. There's a red flag warning conditions here until 10 o'clock tonight. Humidity, winds, the works, right? So this is obviously going to be a concern for the Thompson Fire today. Look at the winds this morning. Look at the winds as we go through the afternoon. They're actually not going to be as strong as they were yesterday afternoon, but they're still going to be gusty. And in fact, as we go into tomorrow morning, we still have some gusty winds, especially on the west side of the valley. But the good news is, we look at the overall pattern here going into Thursday afternoon, the winds are dying down, no longer under the red flag warning conditions. However, just because the winds die down doesn't mean the fire danger isn't going to be high, because the humidity levels are going to be quite low. So winds today, very low relative humidity, as you can clearly see even in the mountains. We go into Thursday morning, relative humidity levels do increase a little bit here, but still quite low. And then we start to see them drop again going into Thursday. So once again, by Thursday afternoon, the winds die down, but it will still be very hot. And it will still be very dry out there. In fact, the fire potential for today is because of the winds and the hot and dry conditions. But again, we're going more into that moderate risk as we go into Thursday because the winds are starting to die down. Let's take a look at that fire weather risk when we combine everything. Of course, that fire danger will be on the extreme side for your Wednesday. Then, of course, as we take you into your Thursday, we are going to start to see that begin to drop a little bit here. So there you can see as we go into Thursday morning, the fire danger is not all that high, which is good. We're still seeing it fairly high this morning, by the way, but you can see it's kind of in that high range, but not in the extreme range that we've seen here. All right. Look at all the heat alerts out there. Let's kind of spell these out for you. Quite honestly, it's just going to be hot through the extended period here. There you can see the excessive heat warning for all of the areas in red here. We do have, of course, the heat advisories, which have now been extended to the east of the valley here. This is through Tuesday. You may recall when we were starting to hear about these warnings, it was only going through Saturday. Then they pushed it up to Sunday. Now it's Tuesday. And one thing I mentioned a few days ago is that the heat was going to extend northward and that the advisories were going to extend northward. Now it's for, Washington, Oregon, all of California, and of course east of that into Nevada, and not to mention Arizona. So we have this big ridge of high pressure. You see how the clouds are moving up and over the ridge. We got to watch this area of low pressure right here, because this is what will eventually help to cool us off just a little bit. Now the winds again around the area of high pressure are going to give us those gusty winds today. But the good news is not such great news, but at least the winds will start to die down by Thursday as that dome of high pressure begins to move on top of us. The problem with that is once that dome of high pressure is right on top of us, that's when we'll see the hottest temperatures. This is when Redding, for example, could meet or even break the all-time high of 118 degrees. That dome of high pressure right on top of us. I think the peak will be on Saturday. Then the good news is this area of low pressure I was pointing out, it is going to continue to ride up to the north and help to kind of push that dome of heat off to our east. The problem is that dome of heat is still going to be just off to our east. And even though the top of that dome isn't on top of us, we're on the outer perimeter of that. And that's still going to keep temperatures 105, even 110 degrees here, even through next Thursday. But for those that are influenced by the Delta breeze, Sacramento, maybe even as far south as Chico, this area of low pressure right here could bring back the marine layer and a bit of a Delta influence by the middle to latter part of next week. That would be some great relief, especially down to the south. All right, let's take a look at some of the consecutive number of days of 100 plus degree temperatures over 20 days, right? And that's not really the one I'm watching very closely. It's this one, 110 plus. The record, the all-time high of number of consecutive days of 110 plus is 6 days, set in 1978 and then 10 years later in 1988. Not too far behind that was in 1920 and other years after that where we saw 5 days. I think we could very easily see 5 to 6 days of 110 plus degree temperatures starting today. And then you'll notice, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think, this is pretty good confidence that will at least be 110 degrees or higher. As you start getting in here, we're getting pretty far out. That may change. It may go up, it may go down, but there is a chance. Not only could we meet our all-time high in Redding, which will be on Saturday, which is 118 degrees, but we could break the all-time high of consecutive days that we've seen 110 plus degree temperatures all back to back. It could exceed that 6-day stretch. Again, there's the all-time record high set in 1971, 1981, and then again on July 20th of 1988. Could we see that again on Saturday? It's not out of the question for Redding. Look at the record highs here as we go into today. We don't expect to break a record today or tomorrow, but of course by the time we get into Friday, temperatures will really start to spike, and especially going into your Saturday. I think we could break some records in Mount Shasta, especially by Thursday, and not to mention going into your Friday. But one thing I want to point out, even though we're talking about this extreme heat, we are not going to shatter these records by any stretch of the imagination. But you can also see even places like the coast on Friday. Eureka could break a record on Friday with a high of 74, breaking the record of 70 set back in 1983. So certainly kind of interesting information there. Take a look at the wave heights. They will be fairly high for today. Let's take you into your Thursday. They may actually start to retreat, which is obviously good news if you need to be on a small boat. Now, taking a look at your marine forecast, there actually is a hazardous seas warning today with those winds coming in from the north at about 25 to 30 knots. Here's a look at your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. These temperatures are going to be over 100 degrees in many spots. But even look at Ruth, 104, 102 for Burnt Ranch, Trinity Center, about 101 degrees. We take you out to central and southern Humboldt County. Look at the coast. See how temperatures are in the 70s, back down into the upper 60s by the time we get into Monday of next week. Let's take you up north, Gas Key, about 99, 101 for Orleans, 108 in Hoopa. How about Willow Creek, 110 degrees today, 89 degrees out in Smith River. Let's take you out to Siskiyou County. You can see a high of 101 for Happy Camp. The temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 90s along the I-5 corridor there. Taking a look at Modoc County, of course, we see those temperatures in the 80s and some 90s working their way in, and triple digits by Friday for Alturas. And the eastern mountains, I think Shingletown, you'll get up to 100. Cooler, but still hot in Viola with 92. 103 for Paradise, and Susanville, a high of about 96 degrees today. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. These temperatures are going to be approaching the 110 degree mark, if not even exceeding that in some areas like Redding and Palisadro, for example. Anderson about 110, as well as Red Bluff. And look at Lakehead, 106, Whiskeytown, 105 degrees. We take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures of 110 degrees or higher today, all the way through Tuesday of next week. This heat, it's going to be around for a while, so hold on tight.
Let nothing stand between you and the tree stand with this great offer on the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick. Featuring a gas-powered engine that delivers a top speed of 40 miles per hour, outstanding acceleration and handling with cargo, and a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Get the Sidekick now for 0 down, 0% APR for 36 months or save $1,000.
Tractors, trailers, rentals.
You do it all, we do it local.